Hello, Internet work. My name is Elias Pending and I'm the director of the Department of Contextual Studies. Here, ordinary things are examined with undue seriousness. Our case today is number 0006, the charger of Homo Smartphonus. We find ourselves on the threshold between the history of technology and modern mythology. Before us lies an object, small, inconspicuous, yet of epochal significance, a charger. More precisely, the charger of Homo Smartphonus, dating back to around the year 2017 Anno Domini. It rests in a state that could be described as tangled, yet dignified. The USB cable, once a symbol of functional connection, has overcome itself in a complex knot, like a python coiling around its own body out of metaphysical boredom. One immediately recognizes this is no longer a tool, but a fossil of the digital age. The location, a drawer, top shelf, back left, next to 3 discharged AA batteries, an unidentifiable rubber cap, and a 10% discount voucher for MediaMarkt, valid for purchases of €50 or more, unfortunately expired on Monday, the 30th of September 2019. Such circumstances of discovery are typical for the era. The early post-selfie era was characterized by technological exuberance, just as the roaring 20s of the Weimar Republic represented a golden age of German art, culture, and science, coupled, however, with an increasing loss of track of one's own cables. Archaeologists today call this phenomenon the era of charging cables. The charger itself reveals a surprising amount about its user culture by Homo Smartphoneus. The patina of dust and crumbs suggests a long period of neglect. A tiny, barely visible dent on the connector suggests that at some point, in a moment of emotional distress, it was angrily hurled against the wall or the edge of the sofa. It is suspected that this was a desperate attempt to save a cell phone that showed only 1% battery remaining and had long since given up hope of charging in time. Like José Salvador Alvarenga, the Salvadoran fisherman who drifted in the Pacific Ocean for 438 days before being found and finally rescued in the Marshall Islands on 30th of January 2014. The connector is a USB-A to micro USB type, a now obsolete connection system that was once considered universal until cruel technological progress relegated it to obscurity, much like fax machines which... Sorry? No fax? Oh, no. Fax machines are still essential for government agencies, for German government agencies. Like the Neanderthal, Homo neanderthalensis, robust, widespread, but incapable of adapting to new charging speeds. The knotting is particularly noteworthy. It follows no discernible pattern, and yet it seems to obey an inner logic, like the artistic work of a being simultaneously frustrated and fascinated by its own technology. Some researchers refer to this as the so-called cable instinct, an archaic form of self-organization, enabling Homo Smartphonus to simultaneously create order and immediately destroy it. This impulse, according to early records of the Institute of Applied Untangling Research, originally served as a psychological stabilization purpose. By knotting the cable, Homo Smartphonus created a challenge that could only be resolved by its own hand, a primitive form of self-efficacy, comparable to the human need to create riddles that no one has posed. Some evolutionary biologists even go so far as to claim that the cable instinct served as a social signal. Those who carried a particularly complex tangle in their pocket showed the group that they were ready for larger devices, power banks, Bluetooth headphones, perhaps even automated robotic vacuum cleaners. On the wall of the power adapter, fine engraved letters can be seen. Samsung. This inscription, half-blurred, could point to a religious or cultic origin. Perhaps Samsung was the name of a deity representing connection and the flow of electricity, worshipped by millions and feared for sudden battery depletion or even spontaneous combustion at the crucial moment. Imagine Homo Smartphoneus, in his typical posture, head bowed, thumbs in a ritualistic motion over the glass of the display. The charger was his umbilical cord to civilization, his, lifeline in a world that descended into panic within hours without electricity, as Joseph Tainter described in his seminal work, The Collapse of Complex Societies in 1988. Today, we regard this cable with a mixture of awe and pity. We know that its power transmission has long since ceased, yet in its form, in its spiral of plastic and hope, it preserves the echo of an entire culture. Perhaps, and this is the most comforting interpretation, it was never discarded because humanity sensed that it wasn't simply a cable, but a part of its very being. That completes the context. Goodbye, internet work.